I was walking through the forest when a scream startled me. A man running in horror from a pack of wolves. I quickly howled at them, then crouched down. Distracted, the wolves stopped, left the guy, and cautiously sniffed their way over to me.
Hey girl, run away!
Shush! After deciding I was no threat, they wagged their tails and started licking my face.
Aren't you scared?
Not at all. People often misunderstand wolves. This isn't Little Red Riding Hood. They're not actually grandma eaters. Come and make new friends, buddy. Hi, my name's Winona, an 18-year-old Native American living on the Blackfeet Reservation with my mom. And I'm about to tell you the craziest story of my life. After the wolves left, I helped the guy find a place to clean his wound and told him more about the wolves.
So you're a Blackfoot born and bred? It's my first time meeting a Native American.
How about you? What brings you here, city boy?
I'm actually a pianist wandering here for inspiration.
Have you found it yet? Or did you almost lose yourself just then?
Inspiration's hard to find, especially when you're a theater pianist.
What?
A theater pianist. I work at Winter Garden.
In New York? Wow, it's my dream to be a Broadway musical actress.
Actually, my theater's looking for a stage crew. You could start from there and I'll find ways to introduce you to the right people.
I couldn't let such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity slide. But the thing is, my mom absolutely resents theater arts and forbids me to even mention it. So, I gotta devise a plan. I brought Luke home for lunch. Mom was so welcoming and even prepared a great banquet. So, Luke, right? What brings you to Montana?
I'm doing a research paper for school. I'm in college.
Oh, so you're around the same age as Winona. She's recently finished high school.
I know, and if it wasn't for Winona, I'd be dead by now. So I was thinking, if it's okay with you, I'd like to invite her to college with me.
That's nice of you.
But what are you studying?
Hotel management. Mom, I thought I could give it a try too. But honey, you said you wanted to take a gap year. I just didn't want to try college alone. But now I've met Luke, it'll be different.
Mrs. Ryder, I promise I'll take good care of her.
Mom smiled, then nodded. Yes! Mission accomplished! Oh man, look at how crazy the streets of New York are. Thankfully, Luke arranged a small place just a few blocks away from the theater for me. And the following day, he landed me a staff member job to get me used to the theater scene first. It's not easy, especially working for a grumpy director with a zillion demands.
Hey, you! Yes, you cleaning lady! Out of the way!
But just being here this close to the stage is incredible, right? One day, on set for Mr. Killorn's new play, he started yelling and throwing papers everywhere. Curious, I picked up the script and saw a line written in Blackfoot. Ketzikakumen? I love you? Mr. Killorn suddenly noticed me. Oops, I must have said it too loud.
How did you learn to speak Blackfoot?
My mom taught me. Oh, I live in the Blackfeet Reservation.
Interesting. You know what? You're cast for the leading role in this play. Go and meet Jade, the coach here at the theater studio. She'll instruct you further.
I froze on the spot and couldn't believe what had just happened until Luke appeared, bowed to the director, and pulled me out of there. Am I finally living my dream now? Here it is, the studio from the business card. Huh? Are they shooing a coyote? This stupid guy was waving his umbrella at the snarling animal. I tried to tell everyone to back up, but no one heard my tiny voice until the guy next to me suddenly spoke up.
Everyone, back up!
Thank God people finally listened. I slowly advanced to the coyote, knelt, and offered my hand to him. When he seemed to trust me enough, I gently stroked his head and calmed him down. Just then, Mr. Killorn's assistant appeared and took the coyote in. Turned out, he's Mr. Killorn's pet. Who keeps a wild creature as a pet in this stuffy, urban space?
You okay? You hurt anywhere?
I'm fine. The poor little coyote looked terrified.
You know a lot about animals, don't you?
I grew up with them, yeah. In Blackfoot mythology, coyotes are guardian spirits.
Well, you sure were a guardian spirit right then.
I was still so touched by his words, but then Luke suddenly appeared.
Winona, I just heard about what happened. You okay? What are you doing here?
The guy, who was friendly just a second ago, now seemed cautious and just walked away while Luke glared at him. I'm fine.
You should stay away from him.
Luke doesn't seem to like that guy. Something weird is going on between these two. I went and met Jade, our coach. She told me about the role and introduced me to Nathan, my actor partner, which happened to be the guy I just met. I couldn't help but grin and offered my hand to Nathan, but he just ignored me and turned to the script. Hello? Am I just a stranger danger now? We then tried the opening act, but since it was my first time being on a turntable, I took the wrong step and fell over. Nathan! I was blushing when he suddenly glanced at Luke and dropped me, almost kissing the floor. Right then, a girl barged in. Is everything ready for my set?
You're late again, Stella. And actually, you and Winona are both gonna practice and we'll see who's right for the role.
Winona who? As if this nobody can stroll in and try to steal my role. How snobby. She's lucky this nobody doesn't want to make a scene on her first day. During the break, I questioned Luke more on Stella.
Stella is super talented. She's marvelous at dancing, singing, and acting. No surprise though, because she's been training since she was little.
That's exactly why we should just give her the role already. A waste of time dealing with amateurs. That was so rude. So much for ever thinking he was friendly. In the following weeks, I finally got a better grasp of my character. The female lead was a gentle, down-to-earth Blackfoot woman. Easy peasy. I just need to pretend to be my mom. Only, my on-scene love interest Nathan was making things difficult. On stage, he refused to make eye contact with me, but he didn't have this trouble when he was up there with Stella. Every day I had lunch with Luke while Nathan and Stella were giggling in another corner, acting as if they were the most powerful couple here. Are they really in love? Oh, Winona, please. Why should you care? After lunch, I ignored Stella's glaring eyes and focused on being Nathan's lover on stage. What kind of singing is that? Give me a break already.
That's enough, Stella. Actually, I just informed Mr. Killorn over lunch that Winona's getting the role.
Ha! Very funny.
No, it's not a joke. Look at your performance recently, Stella. It's rather disappointing. Winona, keep up the good work.
Stella looked like she'd had the blood sucked out of her. I excitedly beamed at Luke, but strangely he looked concerned and ran after Stella. Does he have feelings for her? See that? Why hasn't he just confessed his feelings for Stella already and stopped this unrequited love tragedy? Isn't it because you and Stella are together? And that's also why you're so half-hearted whenever you're on set with me? It's not like that. I just couldn't control myself every time our eyes met. What did he mean by that? Congrats anyways. I always knew you deserved this role. He's right. I'd really worked super hard for this. I'm so close to achieving my dream now. The next day, I rushed into the first official rehearsal and acted my heart out in front of Mr. Killorn and the whole crew. I was dancing away to Luke's sentimental track when the door slammed open. It was Mom!
I can't believe you lied to me and came here to do these foolish antics.
Oh no. Mr. Killorn turned pale while Jade gasped upon seeing Mum. I tried to tell Mum to let me finish the scene, but...
Fine, be this way. Until you come to your senses, you're not my daughter anymore.
Mum then stormed out of there. Mr. Killorn told everyone to take a break and also left. I stormed over to Luke and asked if he told my mum the truth. But right when he was stammering, Mr. Killorn came between us.
I didn't know you had to lie to your mum to get here.
Yeah, sadly. She knows about my acting dream, but she has always been so negative about it.
Is that so? Well, you're doing a great job. Continue practicing for the play. And maybe take me to your mum sometime and I'll try and explain this to her.
Encouraged by the director's feedback, the next day I confidently acted my part. Yet Jade seemed dissatisfied and criticized my movements, saying they were too rigid.
Winona, I'm giving the role to Stella. You need more training.
What? I'm not some toy you can throw back and forth. Was it all just a show to get me and her to pit against each other? What was that about? Why the change?
You're not qualified. Go back to your mother.
What has this to do with my mother? I didn't know what was going on, but I was sure of one thing. I needed to prove myself, so I stayed at the studio practicing, swinging and swaying my soul away under the studio light until I accidentally sprained my ankle. Right then, Nathan came out and helped me up. Why are you still here? I saw you stay, so I thought I'd stick around for a little longer. As he spoke, he gently pressed an ice bag on my ankle. I felt the butterflies flapping in my stomach, but suddenly remembered his attitude before and pushed him away, ready to stand up just to fall into his embrace again. You must think I'm so hot and cold, but I just didn't want Luke to misunderstand anything. What do you mean? We're just friends. And what's up with you and Luke? Then he told me how he and Stella were the best of friends back at acting school until Luke appeared. Luke was instantly attracted to Stella and asked Nathan to set them up. Nathan, of course, happily agreed. However, the next day Stella suddenly expressed her feelings for Nathan right in front of Luke. Luke didn't take it too well and thought I was messing with him. He's resented me ever since. So, you and Stella are just friends? We are. Stella might appear childish, but she's good-natured. She's dealing with a lot inside. I've just been watching over her. But right now, she's gonna have to learn to stand on her own since I think I've met my guardian spirit. His guardian spirit? We were so close, I swear we were almost kissing. But I quickly pulled away, saying I gotta go practice. The final rehearsal is my only chance to get my role back now. I showed up just as a substitute today, but when everybody was ready to rehearse, the only person missing was Stella. No one seemed able to contact her, and the director was growing impatient. Jade had no other choice but to push me onto the stage. Luke didn't seem too happy with this replacement and suddenly played the piano much faster than expected. Flustered, I took a deep breath and let myself float naturally to his rhythm. During the intermission, I asked Luke what that was about.
Drop it, Winona. I already knew. You got in here all thanks to your director dad, yet you fooled me with your little story. It's you who forced Stella away from her chosen role.
Who's my dad? Mr. Killorn? Right then I was called for the next act. Still puzzled by what Luke said, I couldn't focus on my part with Nathan. Suddenly I heard Nathan scream my name and leapt to push me to the side. I fell on the floor and saw the massive chandelier land on Nathan. Everybody rushed to check on us, and among the crowd came, Mom? We were all waiting for the doctor to check on Nathan when Luke suddenly spoke out.
I'm sorry for what I said, but Jade told me Mr. Killorn is your dad, and you guys forced Stella to drop her role.
Mr. Killorn and I both gave Mom astounded eyes.
Winona's my daughter?
That's right, Andrew. But don't worry, as soon as Nathan's recovered, I'll bring Winona back home and will not bother you and Jade again.
No, you've got it all wrong. Why didn't you tell me about our daughter? Jade said if I told you, she would harm Winona. Wait, does this have anything to do with the accident? 'Cause right before the act, I saw Jade talking to a crew member who set up the stage for Nathan and Winona. I'll get this looked into at once.
So, this play about Andrew and a Blackfoot woman falling in love, is it about you and Mom? Mr. Killorn didn't reply, but looked at Mom tenderly, and she burst out crying. Right then, the doctor came out, saying we could visit Nathan. Luke quickly pulled me aside, leaving the adults there.
How are you feeling? Any discomfort?
You're not mad at me anymore?
Yeah, sorry for being a jerk.
It's alright, dude. Go find Stella before she leaves. She said she was sick of being thrown around. She's taking a leave to reassess a few things.
But why me? Aren't you?
We're just friends. How many times do I have to tell you? Luke didn't even wait for Nathan to finish and rushed out of there. I wished them a happy ending. And it's indeed happy endings all round. Not only for Luke and Stella, who are now officially an item, but also for Mom and Mr. Killorn. Or should I say Dad? Our family has finally reunited. On the other hand, Jade vanished as soon as her schemes were out in the open. Turns out, all of this was because she'd been in love with my dad for years. So back when Mom was dating Dad, she told her lies about him to get her to leave. Furious that both Mom and I were back, she decided to make us go for good. Dad helped me get a spot in the theater academy in New York, but he misses Mom lots, so always makes excuses to bring me and Nathan back to Montana.
You guys need more inspiration, right? New York's just all hustle and bustle. So, how about we move the studio back here?
Nathan, what do you think? I don't know, but wherever you are, that's where I'll be.
Have you ever questioned if your teacher hates you? I wish I didn't have to, but yep, my teacher hated my guts, and she went out of her way to make it very clear. I'm Lori, by the way. I'm 15 years old, and I guess you could say I kind of stand out because of my looks. People say I'm kind of pretty. Anyway, this year I started high school, although I only joined halfway through the year because I was off sick for 6 months with glandular fever. Yep, I had the dreaded mono. I was so tired of lying in bed feeling sorry for myself, so when the doctor said I could finally go back to school, I was over the moon. Little did I know what was in store for me. On my first day, I had to show all my teachers my hospital certificate to explain why I'd missed so much of the year. When I gave it to Miss Atkin, my math teacher, she smiled and said, "Welcome. Nice to see you feeling so much better." I smiled back at her and said, "Thank you." And I was about to walk away when suddenly she said, "Excuse me, you're Lori Hannison?" Her face looked all weird, and when I told her, yep, that was me, something inside her changed. She gave me a cold stare and told me to go to my seat immediately. I was confused a little bit about her attitude, but then I moved on from it. The most important thing was how I could catch up with my class. After missing 6 months of math, I was super behind and couldn't understand anything. My mom had to hire a tutor for me, and he was such a good teacher. Only after 3 months, I finally caught up with them. I had a notebook from our sessions with lots of notes inside, and whenever I couldn't remember something, I'd just look at it. Well, one day, I had it on my desk at school, and Miss Atkin caught me seeing my notes. She marched towards me, grabbed it, and slammed it down in front of me. She was so angry and got right up in my face and said, "Never, ever bring another teacher's notes to my class. Do you hear me?" As she said that, a little bit of spit flew out of her mouth and landed on my nose. I was horrified. Why was she so angry at me? It kinda scared me, and I thought maybe she was just angry because I wasn't as good at math as everyone else. After that, I didn't dare bring my notebook to class, but sometimes I still struggled, so I'd ask my friend who sat nearby to help me. Miss Atkin always caught me asking her and would put me in detention. One time I just sneezed too loud and she gave me detention. I mean, can you even believe? It annoyed me so much that I started to rebel. I'd often fall asleep in her class, and I seriously lost all motivation to do well. And that's not all. One day, I wore a new dress to class, and I swear I looked exactly like all the other girls at school. But Miss Atkin publicly embarrassed me by making me stand up in front of everyone, then said, "Girls and boys, Lori is a fine example of someone who pays more attention to what she wears than to studying. Don't be like Lori." I could feel myself blushing, and I wanted to cry. She was deliberately being mean to me, and I had no idea why. I was not that kind of girl. I normally loved studying, and I didn't care about clothes and shoes at all. I couldn't say anything, though, because if I spoke back to her, she'd give me a worse grade. What made it all even worse was that she was also the cheerleading coach, and she had her pack of cheerleaders following her around everywhere. One time I was standing in the hall talking with my friend Joe. We'd been best friends since we were like 3 years old, and we also live in the same street, so we'd grown up together. Joe always had my back. So we were standing there chatting when Miss Atkin and some of her fave students walked by. Suddenly I heard one of the girls say, "Oh look, surprise, surprise, it's Lori flirting with a boy again." Then one of the other girls said, "Seriously, she's such a fake. I mean, she's using her illness to get attention from boys. How pathetic." I couldn't believe it. Did they think I was deaf or something? They were the ones who were fake with their thick layers of makeup and all of their gossip and drama. I didn't really care that they were saying these things, but what really got to me was the way Miss Atkin laughed along with them. I actually saw her nod her head, so she agreed with them. I knew that wasn't okay. And Joe saw it too. He was so angry and grabbed my hand and said we had to report her to the principal. I stopped him though and said, "Just leave it. I am still the new girl here, and I don't want to cause any drama. And anyway, I have a plan." I smirked at him as I said this. So, Miss Atkin has this policy where if someone's phone rings in class, they have to answer it on speakerphone. And that policy includes her, too. So that day, I pretended to bump into her as she entered the class and watched as her phone dropped out of her hands. I quickly picked it up and apologized for being so clumsy, but at the same time, I unmuted it when she wasn't looking. Easy peasy. You see, I'd arranged for Joe to call her. This was going to be hilarious. Sure enough, 5 minutes later, her phone started ringing loudly. Her ringtone was Beyoncé's Single Ladies, and everyone burst out laughing. She freaked out and quickly grabbed her phone to cancel it. But Joe was persistent. He just kept calling, and everyone in class reminded her of the policy, so she had no choice but to answer it. Well, just wait for this. She answered, and suddenly Joe's voice filled the room. But he'd put on a funny accent to make himself sound older. "Honey, don't forget about our secret date at our favorite hotel tonight." Miss Atkin looked like she wanted to die. She said, "Who is this? I don't know you." Then Joe said, "Come on, baby, what's up? Is your husband there?" Miss Atkin was now visibly shaking and said, "You've got the wrong number." But Joe wouldn't stop. "Ah, you're so cute. I'll see you tonight, baby. Get ready for a fun night. Wink, wink." At that, Miss Atkin hung up and the whole class was just deathly silent. I had to bite my tongue to stop myself from laughing. Joe had really outdone himself. However, I hadn't exactly thought it all through, because a couple of days later, Joe and I were about to walk home when he got called into the principal's office. I went with him, but they wouldn't let me in. I could see Miss Atkin in the room along with the principal and Joe. She'd somehow found out that it was Joe who'd called her, and now the principal said that Joe would be expelled and that his parents would need to come in for a meeting the following day. Oh my God, this was all my fault. When he came out, I rushed over and started apologizing, but Joe said, "Don't worry, I did it, so I'll take the responsibility." I was beside myself with guilt. I just kept saying, "Joe, no, this is my fault. I'm the one who should be expelled." But Joe wouldn't even listen to me. Well, that evening I told my parents the whole story. I was crying as I told them, and obviously they were angry, but they were also supportive. The next day, Joe's parents came for their meeting. The principal was there, and the school board, and of course, Miss Atkin. Luckily, my parents arrived just in time to interrupt the meeting, and we burst into the room. We told them the truth, how I'd been so ill and had to get a tutor, and that's why I carried that notebook. Then how Miss Atkin had treated me so badly and been so rude to me the whole time. I told them the phone call incident had been my fault and that Joe had just wanted to help me. Suddenly, Miss Atkin stood up and pointed at me and said, "I knew it was you. You spoiled brat. You should be expelled." What happened next was crazy. My mom jumped up and said, "How dare you speak to my daughter like that? You hate her because she's my daughter. Get over it, Angela. It's been years." Well, Miss Atkin ran towards my mom and said, "You're a horrible woman, and so is your daughter. You deserve each other." She was about to grab my mom, but my dad jumped up and stopped her. I didn't understand what was happening. Everyone was so shocked. The principal looked so puzzled. Then he told us all to go home and calm down. When we got home, my mom sat me down and said, "If you're being mistreated, you need to tell us. Don't suffer it out alone, okay?" I told my mom I was fine, and that school was great, but then my dad interrupted and said, "You're fine? Don't lie to us. You were almost expelled." Then my mom said, "Honey, calm down. It's not her fault. You saw her teacher. She's a demon." Then my dad just laughed, and I was so confused. Then he said, "Oh yeah, Lori, we should have told you this already, but Miss Atkin was at school with us." Then they told me how the three of them had gone to high school together, and both my mom and Miss Atkin had a crush on my dad, so they became sworn enemies. They fought all the time, and Miss Atkin had been expelled from school because of my mom. Of course, my dad hadn't known all of that back then, and he'd fallen in love with my mom. Wow, now I understand the real reason Miss Atkin treated me like that. She was obviously still angry at my mom, and when she'd seen my name, she hadn't been able to control her anger anymore, and she'd just released it all on me. My mom said, "Lori, you look exactly like me in high school. Because I was pretty, so many people were jealous." Then she turned to my dad, smiled, and said, "I can see that Joe is quite similar to your dad. You should be careful." At that, Mom and I burst out laughing. My dad was just speechless. And guess what? It all worked out in the end. Miss Atkin got reassigned to another school, and Joe and I were only suspended from school for 2 weeks. Now we're closer than ever, and there's definitely some real chemistry between us. Finally, high school is getting good again, huh?
Why wasn't it working? I followed all the steps, but still, nothing. At that moment, my best friend Harry walked towards me and asked with a confused look, "Hey, what you doing?" "Hey, Harry. I'm just working on this plan to become popular, but it isn't going so well. I changed my style and posted more on social media, but I'm still not cool." You're probably wondering why I was desperately wanting to be popular, right? Well, it's all because of my annoying hiccups. Last year, I was on stage performing the play Our Town when I suddenly started to hiccup, constantly. I couldn't stop, and the whole audience started to laugh at me. In the end, they had to replace me with my understudy. Not only was it the most humiliating moment of my life, but I've also been teased about it ever since. This year, I wanted to become popular. Then everyone would forget about the hiccuping incident. If only becoming popular was easy. Hey, you could help me. No way! Your plan is crazy! At that moment, the new student, Amanda, passed by, surrounded by a bunch of other students. Why is this girl so popular? I mean, she's only been here a week. You don't know? She's Dustin's sister. He's already the most popular guy in school. So being his sister makes her popular too. Duh. That's it, Harry. The fastest way for me to climb the popularity ladder is to date Dustin. At first, Harry seemed confused by this, but then he suddenly agreed to help me. With one condition, of course, that after I succeeded in becoming Dustin's girlfriend, I had to introduce Amanda to him. I knew it! He had a crush on her. Every guy in the school does. Fine, I'll help him, as I need Harry in this anyway. He plays a crucial role in my plan, and you'll soon figure out why. After school, I was waiting in a corner at the parking lot when Harry walked towards me, followed by Dustin. I heard you're giving tutor lessons? Yeah, that's right. I don't take money. I just need... What do you need? I need you to pretend to be my boyfriend. Dustin burst out laughing, but then when he saw our serious looks, he stopped. You two are crazy, but I do need to pass math, so... Okay. However, my grades have to improve within 2 weeks. Then we have a deal. Deal? I grinned. Within 2 weeks? That's so easy. What a catch. You must be wondering how we managed to pull that off. Well, Harry's on Dustin's soccer team and overheard the coach tell him if he didn't improve his math grade, he'd be kicked off the team. Basically, we used Dustin's weakness to get the deal. I know I had no chance with him by using my lousy flirting skills, so it's time to use my greatest strength, my brain. Pretty smart, huh? I started to tutor Dustin. Then after 2 weeks, he shot up 2 grades. And that's when he held up his end of the deal and pretended to be my boyfriend. The next day, Dustin and I held hands and walked into school. And just as I expected, everybody was gawping at us. I even heard them whisper about me, "Is that the hiccup girl with Dustin?" And, "Whoa, since when were those two a thing?" Ha! And that's not all. Wherever I went, people would follow me. And in every class, everyone wanted to sit next to me. Finally, I was popular, and I loved it. I just finished tutoring Dustin at his house and was about to head home when his mom appeared and invited me to stay for dinner. Awkward, but I didn't want to be rude, so I said yes. Besides, this was a great opportunity to talk to Amanda. I was sitting next to Dustin at the dinner table when Amanda walked in and gave me a dirty look. What is she doing here? Amanda, manners! Okay, had I upset her somehow? After we finished eating, I helped Amanda clean up. I pulled some homemade chocolate cookies out of my bag and gave my friendliest smile as I said, my friend Harry, he likes you. I was wondering if... Without letting me finish my sentence, Amanda interrupted me. Sorry, let me stop you right there. First, I don't eat cookies. Gross. Second, I assume you're asking me if I want to go out with your friend, right? No, 'cause he's a loser just like you. It's embarrassing enough that Dustin is dating you. Then she walked off, leaving me standing there dumbfounded. Oh my God, couldn't believe what I just heard. How could a person be so rude? Ugh. The next day at school, I wanted to tell Harry to give up on Amanda, but as soon as I caught sight of him, he ran towards me, hugged me, and said, "Emily, you're a matchmaking genius! Thank you!" Huh? What do you mean by that? Amanda just asked me if I wanted to come to her party this weekend. Isn't that great? Yay! What on earth was going on? But Harry looked so happy that I just couldn't tell him the truth. One thing's for sure, there's something sus about Amanda. Of course, I was going to that party too, 'cause I was Dustin's girlfriend, remember? Wow, we were actually at a cool kids party. Our first time ever. This was awesome. Harry even got a bit emotional. What a baby. Dustin and I teamed up to play beer pong, and it was so much fun, and unexpectedly, we won! We were so excited, and both of us cheered with joy and hugged each other without thinking. Oops, didn't see that coming. But what happened next was even crazier. Everybody started to cheer, kiss, kiss, kiss. Oh boy, they couldn't be serious, right? I just laughed it off and hoped everyone would stop. But no, they just kept cheering on. Suddenly, Dustin grabbed my face and kissed me right on the lips. I didn't push him away. Oh no, instead, I closed my eyes and got carried away. I even lifted up one leg. Oh, and FYI, that was my first kiss. After that, we both turned bright red and avoided eye contact. Ugh, my whole body felt hot like I was having a fever or something. Anyway, the party was everything I dreamed of and more. The next day, Harry and I arrived at school in a super good mood, but suddenly, we saw a bunch of students gathering around someone. We squished through the crowd and saw Amanda crying. Turns out, somebody from the party had stolen 2 of her mom's Fabergé eggs. Then, one of Amanda's friends suggested checking all backpacks and lockers of everyone who went to the party last night.
But the chances are low. The culprit must have been able to hide all the evidence by now.
Still, we should try everything we can, right? I couldn't bear seeing Amanda crying her eyes out like this. Then he gently patted her shoulder. Hey, that was smooth. Way to go, Harry. And so, we checked a few people's belongings and still nothing was found. Then it was Harry's turn. He opened the locker and, oh my God, one of the Fabergé eggs was in there. But how? He would never do such a thing. I opened my locker and, what? There was the other one! What on earth was going on? Suddenly, Amanda started shouting at us. I knew it was you two! Hey everybody, Emily over here manipulated Dustin by using his weaknesses, his love of soccer and his dislike for math. Then she forced him to pretend to be her boyfriend just so she could be cool. Everybody started glaring at me like I was the villain, but I wasn't. There was a misunderstanding. I looked over to Dustin for help, but he just avoided my gaze, then walked off. I didn't know what to do, so I just stood there in shock until Harry dragged me off with him. Well, after that, I was more popular than ever. I was now known as the girl who took advantage of a guy to get popular and then stole from him. Worse, Amanda wouldn't listen to me. Harry and I were clearly framed. I wish I could go back to my normal life before I made that stupid deal with Dustin. Oh, but then that kiss wouldn't have happened. Oh boy, might I have fallen for Dustin? Then suddenly I got a text from Amanda. It was a clip from the recent party with the message, "You're nothing to Dustin."
Why are you dating this loser? Wasn't she the girl who hiccuped during the play? I will use her until the end of this semester.
Oh my, I couldn't believe he said that. I knew he didn't like me in the way I liked him, but did he have to be so mean? The clip automatically replayed again. Ugh, watching this one time was bad enough. But wait, there was a detail in the clip that caught my attention. I rewound it and, oh my God, there were the 2 missing Fabergé eggs. The clip was recorded at midnight, but Harry and I left the party way before then. I quickly rushed over to Dustin and Amanda's house and showed them the video. I don't remember you both leaving earlier. What if you're lying? Well, I noticed your front door has cameras. If you want, we could check them. Dustin turned to Amanda and confusingly asked,
Did you put those eggs in Emily and Harry's lockers?
Amanda said nothing, but her head down said it all.
But why would you do that? Emily didn't do anything wrong.
Because I don't like her being your girlfriend. I like you.
What?
Isn't she his sister? Oh, turns out they aren't actually siblings. Whew, that would have been weird. The truth is their parents were really close, and when Amanda's parents died in an accident, Dustin's family took her in. So Amanda was like a sister to Dustin, but Amanda, on the other hand, has been in love with him for a long time. I decided not to make a big deal out of it. As long as she posted a status on social media saying this was all a misunderstanding and that we didn't steal from her, and she reluctantly agreed. Afterward, I immediately got out of there without saying anything else to Dustin, but he ran after me and apologized for not defending me the other day. He just couldn't choose between me and Amanda. And then he said,
That clip you saw wasn't what you think.
Ugh. What's there not to understand? It was so obvious. Then what is it? Please tell me. But Dustin just stood there silent and stared down at his sneakers. Just like I thought. There's nothing else to explain, so I stormed off. The next day, Amanda posted the status and our names were finally cleared. My life is back to being boring, but it's okay, as I now know that being popular isn't what brings me happiness. Oh, and about me and Dustin? Well, a few days later, he sent me a video. It was the same clip from the party. At first, this frustrated me. I mean, why would he make me endure watching that again? But then I noticed that this clip was longer, so out of curiosity, I pressed play. And you won't believe what happened in the second half of that video. After the part where Dustin said he just wanted to use me, everybody teased him more. He got angry and yelled.
Yes, Emily is weird, but weird in a good way. I like the way she smells books every time she opens one, and the cute way she gets embarrassed when she sneezes loudly. And do you know what I like most about her? That she hiccups every time she's nervous. You heard me right. I like her.
You see? Dustin likes me too. Amanda cut this part of the video out on purpose so I'd misjudge him. But now that I knew the truth, what do you think I did? Yeah, of course I forgave him. I mean, how couldn't I?
Hey, I'm Connor, and I'm currently taking a well-deserved break from studying to hang out with my friends. I go to college at the Georgia Institute of Tech, and I'm sure to be a top-notch architect one day soon. Now I just have one thing to deal with, then I can properly enjoy my night off. Oh, here she is. Connor, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to hurt you, but sorry. We should stop seeing each other. Well, every ending is a new beginning. Cheers. I was the master of getting girlfriends I'm tired of to break up with me. It was great, as this way no one could ever accuse me of being a bad boy. What to do now? I reluctantly had to find a new challenge then. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to turn this in. That's okay. Just trying to find one more paper. What's your name? I'm Connor. Hi. Her sparkling eyes, her shiny hair, her soft hands. But ugh, why was suddenly some nerd dragging me away from the hot girl and into a corner? Before I could ask him what was going on, he started waving a photo of this girl in my face. So it turns out this dude is called Patrick, and the girl in the photo is Paige, his girlfriend. Their parents are both influential sorts and organize their whole engagement. Sounds great, right? I mean, she's pretty cute. But no, he wanted me to find a way to make Paige break up with them. I've heard a lot about you. I need your help. I can't do this myself. Huh? Sure, I get it. A real man will never be the one to break up first. I might be able to help, but first, let's see what kind of person she is. The conversation started to become super serious. From the sound of it, this Paige girl was a genuine good-natured girl with a vulnerable side. So this needed to be handled with extra care, so that there wouldn't be any awkward family provocations from my client. Perhaps... Nah, this way wouldn't work. Neither would that way. I was about to give up when suddenly Patrick stacked a pack of money, approximately $1,000 on the table. Help me, then it's all yours. Whoa, that was a lot of money to me. It would get me the magnificent PS5 of my dreams. Besides, with my charm and handsome looks, I could make Paige fall in love with me and leave Patrick in no time. Genius! My debut had to be spectacular, so I looked online and hired some people pretending to be thugs to block Paige's path. Then I'd waltz in and rescue her. The plan was all set, so I leisurely walked to the rendezvous spot, but oh no! Who knew those guys were real thugs? They threatened us, asked us to hand over all our belongings, then forced us to go to some abandoned warehouse. Oh my God! The $1,000 was so not worth losing my life for. Yes, I was somewhat afraid, but my flirtatious instinct kicked in, and I turned to Paige and started talking to her. Oh man, she's super sweet. And I noticed that when she talks about something that interests her, she crinkles her nose. She's so cute, but most of all, she's really smart. Why, you ask? Because just an hour later, the cops showed up and arrested the thugs. Turns out, before Paige handed over her belongings, she quickly texted the thug's license plate to a friend and asked her to call the cops. Phew! And, luckily for me, thanks to this destiny meeting, I got a little more information about her and learned that Paige was planning to learn Spanish to major in tourism there. But there's one more important thing. That is, I think, I have a crush on her. She's not like any other girl I've met before. I want to win her heart, truly, not just because of the plan. It will be the best of both worlds. Patrick gets to be free of Paige, as requested, but she won't end up a lovelorn girl because she'll have a new handsome boyfriend by her side. Yep, that'll be me. There was just one problem. In all the commotion of the day, I'd forgotten to ask Paige for her number. Oops. I had asked Patrick for it and then texted her, but sadly didn't receive a response. I needed to be smart about this, so I decided to pretend to be a Spanish tutor. Yeah, I can't speak Spanish, but with my charm, that's no big deal, right? I created a flashy profile and told Patrick to pretend to surf and accidentally find me. Then show Paige. And so, ding! Hola, yo soy Professor Connor. But wait, sheesh! If only I'd studied Spanish harder in high school, and now the extent of my Spanish were just a few words I'd picked up from binge-watching Money Heist. So I just copied down Spanish lessons off YouTube and taught these to Paige. I don't know if it's because of my teaching skills or my charisma, but Paige seemed to think I was legit. However, my flirting tricks weren't going so well. I knew she liked me. I mean, who wouldn't like me? Besides, she gave me these cute looks and laughed at my jokes. Our chemistry was undeniable. So when I reached over and placed my hand on top of hers, I felt sparks fly. But then she gave me this awkward look and moved her hand away. She liked me, right? So why was she acting like this? I never failed at flirting. Feeling frustrated, I was trudging my way up the street when, was that Patrick happily holding hands with a girl? I recognized the long hair. It was Paige. Ugh, why can't she drop her lousy boyfriend already? And why won't she date me instead? I was about to leave, but the more I thought about it, the more resentful I became. So I bribed a little boy to run up to Paige and say, "Why aren't you with Connor, you cheater?" Mean, huh? But Patrick would be pleased as he now had a legitimate excuse to break up with her anyway. But when the girl turned around, I realized that she wasn't Paige. The poor girl looked completely dumbfounded. Patrick started yelling at her and pulling on her arm so hard she almost fell over. Where's the nerd Patrick? And that wasn't cool at all. Then he raised his hand to hit her, but I zoomed in front of him. "Stop! No reason to hit a woman, bro!" Patrick immediately grabbed my collar. "You dare play tricks with my Becky, huh?" Seeing that, the shocked girl quickly ran away. No, I thought it was Paige, so I hired the boy just to give you an excuse to break up with her. Calm down, bro." Patrick reassessed the situation, then he cleared his throat and said, I was bored of Becky anyway, thanks." I was still shocked by this jerky side of Patrick when he immediately said, "By the way, you can stop the plan with Paige. I decided I like her now. Lately she's been so full of life and less clingy." He told me he would still pay me, then he hopped into a taxi. Ugh, that's the version of Paige when she's with me. I gave her that zest of life, you jerk. Whatever. From this day forth, he was no longer my client, and I didn't want his stupid money. It was time I told Paige what Patrick was really like, so I arranged to meet her in a cafe and told her everything. But when she got over the initial shock, she snapped at me. "I know this is all part of your twisted fabrication. I mean, you lied about speaking Spanish, and now you're just making up stories to break Patrick and me up." Then she threw my textbook back at me and stormed off. Oh man, that Patrick is such a slimeball. But I couldn't blame her for believing him over me. I'd seen firsthand how much of a wolf in sheep's clothing he was. I tried to find proof to show Paige, but that jerk sure covered his tracks. His whole nerdy bookworm facade was flawless. And he was still this sluggish nerd, wobbly clutching the bus handle to go to school every day. Ugh, what a con man. Just you wait, Patrick. It's time the world saw your true face. With such determination, I continued to spy on him around town. Then one time, like every other day, I was on duty when a group stopped me, accompanied by Patrick pointing at me. "Here's our sandbag." Uh-oh, looks like I was busted. The whole group gathered around me, fists ready. Yeah, I was pretty terrified. There's no way I could fight off a group this size. I raised my fists and prepared for pain, but then someone shouted, "Stop!" It was Paige. Suddenly, Patrick immediately changed his attitude and ordered the group to leave. He told Paige that I stole his stuff and his friends were helping him get it back. What? The swine! Connor isn't a thief, I know it for sure. There must be some misunderstanding. Please don't accuse him like that. Patrick's face changed. He grabbed Paige's hand and pulled her away, saying, "We're getting engaged at the end of this month. Say no more." Okay, so I may have gate crashed their engagement party, but I did hide at the back while the speeches were going on. Then to my surprise, as Patrick was talking, they both spotted me. Then Paige turned to him and shook her head. It hurt to see her like this. Perhaps she changed her mind. What do you mean? Is this because of Connor? Paige kept quiet, while Patrick's parents were furious. How dare you cheat on my son? Who do you think you are? Paige, why is this happening? Really, Paige? Say something. Feeling the pressure and injustice of it all, poor Paige looked distraught as she desperately tried to hold back her tears. I really couldn't stand seeing her like that, so I jumped out of the crowd to come to her defense. Everyone calm down. Paige is the sweetest, most amazing girl, and she deserves better than this jerk. Don't listen to him. He's a thief and a fiancé stealer. I was done listening to this guy's slander. So I threw a punch straight at his smug face. Yeah, the engagement party had sure turned chaotic. I looked at the wreckage in front of me, the consequences that I had caused. Okay, so maybe coming here wasn't my best idea. Actually, this was all my fault for ever agreeing to help Patrick in the first place. Or I shouldn't have been a jerk in the first place. Feeling deflated, I arrived home and saw that I'd received a message from Paige. My heart thudded as I opened it. Thank you for everything, and try to practice your Spanish, as it's even worse than mine. Goodbye. And that was the last text she sent me. After that, I spent a month trying to contact her, but received no reply. So finally, I plucked up my courage to go to Paige's house, and was told that she'd left for Spain earlier than scheduled. Perhaps the shock was so huge that Paige wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. It was all my fault. I was the biggest jerk in this story, and now I'd lost the girl. Alas, vengeance is bliss. So I walked inside, went straight to Patrick's table where he was wasted in the arms of a bunch of girls, took a picture, and sent it to his family. What is done by night appears by day, my friend. A few days later, I heard that after being exposed, Patrick's parents had confiscated all of his bank cards. Even his current girlfriend dumped him. Ha! So that sealed the final breakup deal for my special guest. And now, guess where I'm at? Looking for the girl of my life, duh. And this time, I'm going to make sure I don't screw it up.
Hi everyone, I'm Lydia, and I'm going to tell you my amazing but totally bizarre story. But before I do, please like and subscribe. I have a big sister, Gwen, who's 2 years older than me, and she's basically a genius. From as young as I remember, I idolized her.
What is 25 squared?
625, Dad. Honey, what's this? It's The Starry Night, an oil-on-canvas painting painted in June 1889 by the Dutch post-impressionist painter Vincent van Gogh. While I'm, a bit different.
And Lydia, I have 10 candies. I'll give you 2. So how many do I have left?
Isn't this doll cute, Daddy? Yeah, I'm no genius, with no particular talent, no flawless beauty, and almost no friends either. But Gwen didn't mind and was always supportive of me. It's fabulous! Fabulous! It's fabulous! That's why I adored her a lot and tried to copy everything she did. It's fabulous! What's so fabulous about my cat dying? Oops, wrong timing. Then, when I was 16, Gwen left for college. Out of sight, but definitely not out of mind. My parents went on about her all the time, which only made me miss her more. I dreamed of going off to college and having a perfect life, as she did. But for that to happen, I needed to shake up my plain Jane life. I wonder what my hidden talent is. Could it be dancing? No, definitely not. Okay, maybe singing would be better. Right now I'm in a state of mind I wanna be in like all the time. Ain't got no tears left to cry. That's enough. Next. Gosh, why can Gwen make it seem so easy? But at least my grades didn't fail me. I studied my butt off and finally got into law school just like Gwen did, then moved out. Yahoo! So here comes my first day of college. Send me spiritual strength, Gwenny. I successfully joined the cheerleading team and boys started noticing me. But I only had eyes for Ethan. My super handsome boyfriend. Finally, I achieved the life I'd always wanted. Thanks, sis, my real-life role model. Then one day, I arrived home to see a familiar figure waiting for me. Gwen! I was so happy, thinking she'd finally freed up time to visit me, but she looked so upset and had gained weight. A bit. College life seems to have fattened you up. Lydia, I'm pregnant. What the chocolate fudge? One eternity later, I finally managed to close my goldfish mouth, then invited her inside. I dropped out of college 6 months ago, then found out I was expecting a baby right after. My due date's in just 2 weeks, and I have nowhere to go. Please, Lydia, let me stay here. Our parents must not find out. I can't face their disappointment. How about my disappointment? She was meant to be perfect, but she's just ruined everything. What about the father? He has to study in France, so you're the only one I can rely on right now. As mad as I was, I still felt sorry for her. She is my sister, after all. So I let her stay, but refused to talk to her. During the whole week, she hardly slept a wink. She plodded around the place, constantly trying to rub her back and tensing through the pain. I hated seeing her in so much discomfort, so yes, I caved. Together, we prepared for the arrival of our new family member, and I have to admit it, I was kinda excited. Let's find an adorable, meaningful name. Okay, let me do some research. Love, Rosie is my favorite movie, so let's name her Rosie. Wow, that's fast. Baby Rosie was born healthy and happy. We 3 had such a good time until one day, I arrived home from college to find a note and an envelope inside Rosie's crib. My darling Lydia, I'll be away for a while longer. 2 months, I suppose. I have to make some changes so that I can provide for Rosie. Please take care of her for me and do not tell anyone about this. I will be forever grateful for this. G. OMG! How could she do this to me? I still have college, my friends, Ethan, and now a niece? But when I turned to see Rosie smiling at me with those big, round, sparkling eyes, suddenly my heart melted. I can do this. Rosie, looks like it's just the 2 of us now. Mommy will be back soon, so please make things easy, won't you? She absolutely did not. Sometimes I wondered if Rosie was real or an AI program because every night at 3 a.m. sharp, she would cry her lungs out. And if her milk was a little colder than 98.6, she'd spit it all out. Not to mention, I have to come up with 1,000 ridiculous ways to keep her entertained. And my house was always filled with the smell of stinky diapers. But other than that, Rosie was very sweet. I can't bring myself to get angry at her. I had no other option but to take online lessons instead of going to class. One time, I forgot to turn off the mic, and suddenly, Rosie farted so loudly that the entire class immediately flocked around to look. Another time, I was so exhausted from staying up all night that I felt my eyelids drooping. Then, Lydia! Yes, dear, milk is coming! I don't think milk works for you, but an F will. Oh no. Despite my constant apologizing, I still ended up with poor results. This semester, I'd already failed 2 classes and been kicked out of the cheerleading team. You think that is the worst part? Think again. On a super lucky day, I was at Walmart, overwhelmed with dozens of diaper brands when I saw none other than Ethan. There's nowhere to hide, Lydia. You're doomed. Oh, hi, Ethan. Didn't expect to see you here. Sorry, recently I'm a bit busy. Do I know you? Huh? I'm Lydia, your girlfriend? What? It's really you? You ghosted me for the past few weeks. Jeez. Did you even take a shower? And what's that thing? Want to trap me with a baby? No, she's not my child. And it's true that I forgot to wash my hands after changing Rosie's diaper this morning, but anyway, please, I just need to look after her for a few more weeks and everything will be back to normal. That's enough. Look at you. You're just like a cave girl. By the way, use this. And you know what? We're over. No words can explain how pathetic I am right now. It's all because of your mom. She's such a... Now my life's a living misery, all because of you two. Shh. I'm sorry, Rosie, I didn't mean it. None of this is your fault. 2 months is almost up. When your mom's back, things will be okay again. But 2 months passed, and Gwen was still nowhere to be found. Worse still, the money she left ran out. I had no choice but to find work, so I took a personal tutor job where students came to my place to study. Not a single soul applied, until one day I opened the door to see this guy. Hello, can I help you? I saw this flyer and want to attend the class. Oh, really? Sure. Come on in. Turns out, he's Augustin. He wanted to get onto the same law course as me, but last year he didn't make the grade. I tried my best to keep an eye on both Rosie and Augustin in separate rooms, but once in a while, Rosie let out a squeak. You hear that? That's my cat. solve this equation. I need to go to the toilet. But you went 10 minutes ago. I have a small bladder. It runs in my family. Any problems? If you fall in love with someone, just confess like this. My love for you is like diarrhea. I can't hold it in. Mwahaha! Disgusting. I pity anyone who falls in love with him. I hurried back in to see him on his phone. So much for working hard. Huh. Hey, if you really want to get into college, at least put some effort into it. Like how you did your Snow White makeup. Oh no, it's baby powder. It's flour. I'm making bread. Didn't know you can make bread in the toilet. It's okay, teen mom. No need to hide your baby anymore. No judgment here. Seeing as the game was up, I told Augustin the truth. Surprisingly, he seemed understanding and even asked if he could see Rosie. Whoa! Who knew Mr. Jokester could be so good with babies? I've never seen Rosie so full of joy and laughter like that. Gradually, I no longer saw him as my student, but more like a friend. It's not like he came to my place to study anyway. We talked a lot, even outside tutoring sessions, and I learned so much about him. You'll never fulfill your law school dreams by playing games all the time over studying. Who said law school is my dream? And this is not a game. Huh, a fashion website? Don't tell me it's yours. Yeah, I'm the founder of this brand. No way. And what's this? Can you really sell this plain cap for $200? It's not about the cap. It's about the brand's design. He then told me he had always dreamt of opening his own fashion chain, but his parents never supported it and just wanted him to be a lawyer like them. That's why he was never serious about his studies and messed about. So, what's your dream? Become the best judge in America? It's totally not a hard question, but why am I speechless? I just want to be as cool as my sister, but she's not so cool anymore. Right then, Rosie squealed and filled her diaper, which somehow saved me from the situation. But Augustin's question got me thinking. I need to find the answer. You look distracted. What's on your mind? I found it! I want to be perfect! That's vague. How do you define perfect, though? Does it make you happy? I'm not sure. How about this? Have you ever thought about it? Oh, this is nonsense. Forget it. I've forgotten to take care of myself for so long. My boyfriend dumped me, and now my friends also ignored me. I became a loser, all because of a baby. Right then, my lecturer emailed me. A last-minute spot had come up on the debate team for the most important competition of the year. This is my big chance. But how was I supposed to care for Rosie and prepare for it? After a whole night of tossing and turning, the doorbell woke me. Was it Gwen? Oh, it's just some strange guy. Hi, you must be Lydia, Gwen's sister. I'm Kyle, Gwen's boyfriend, and her baby daddy. What on earth? Look at him! I didn't know Gwen had such a weird taste in men. Aren't you studying in France or something? What? Yeah, but without my baby, France, Germany, or even the North Pole are all meaningless. Can I see her now? And after that was the reunion of the century. Thanks for taking good care of Rosie, but now I'll do it. That's my duty as her father anyway. Kyle might look intimidating, but he seemed to love Rosie sincerely. So even though it broke my heart, I gave Rosie to her dad. Besides, there's a huge opportunity waiting for me. I put all of my focus into studying, and it was all going amazingly. I ate the competition and left no crumbs, then even got invited back onto the cheerleading team. My dream life was back. But why did I feel like I had this big hole inside of me? Congratulations, best debater of the state! Thanks. Sup? You took back everything you wanted. Why the long face? I don't know. I just feel empty. So, what can we do to make you feel happy right now? So, here we are, at Rosie's place. What's that loud crying and scolding sound? I impatiently pressed the bell, and Kyle took forever to answer. OMG, is that cigarette smoke? And look at the house! It's a huge mess! What are you doing to Rosie? That's it. Give her back to me. You have no right to take her away from me. The only one who can raise Rosie with me is her mother. So tell Gwen to come back to me. What? You didn't talk to Gwen about this? Last warning. Tell Gwen to come here and ask to be my girlfriend again. Then I'll consider giving her the baby back. Excuse me, it's father-daughter time now. I fell on my knees like all my strength was drawn away. It's all my fault. I handed Rosie to him. Calm down, Lydia. Let's try contacting your sister first. I called Gwen a million times, but no surprise, she didn't pick up. So I shot her a message about the current situation and asked her to show up ASAP. Me and Augustin waited outside Kyle's house for ages, and right when we were about to give up, Gwen finally appeared. We banged on the door, but that jerk Kyle refused to let us in. Oh, you finally showed up. If you want the brat back that badly, then it'll cost you, let's say, $5,000. What a lowlife! Gwen was inconsolable, and Augustin kept trying to kick the door down. Success! We were about to storm in, but then spotted Kyle running off with Rosie and jumped onto his motorbike. Call 911. We've got this. He led me over to his bike, and I clung on for dear life as we chased after Kyle. He was going so fast, and I thought we were going to lose him. Then suddenly, Augustin took a sharp turn up a narrow alley. What are you doing? He went the other way. Trust me, and hold on tight. We whizzed back onto the main road and managed to cut Kyle off at the town square. He tried leaving the baby there and running off, but the cops caught up just in time, and he was arrested. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have left like that. I put you all in such terrible danger. All I wanted was to make things right. Gwen, it's okay. We're all okay. After that, we all went back to her dorm. Turns out she's now a journalism freshman. And I cannot believe my eyes. How could she live in a place like this? Why are you... My life wasn't full of roses at all. The perfect image that I built up was all fake, and it completely wore me out. But this is real. It's what truly makes me happy, so please understand. I didn't know that, but I'm glad you found your dream. You'll always be my coolest sister. And with a holding hand, Gwen found the strength to tell our parents everything. They weren't angry at all, and even felt sorry for her carrying all that burden alone. Turns out it was Gwen who put all the pressure on herself. Mom and Dad even suggested that Gwen move back with them so they could help her take care of Rosie. Finally, everything was sorted out, except I realized law was not my passion after all. Now, which path should I take? Suddenly, Augustin came to me with a wrinkled piece of paper. How about you start with this? Gosh, you still keep it? Let's say I'll give it a try. Hi, it's me again, and today is the grand opening of my baby clothes store. All the clothes here are my own designs. Adorable, right? And my marketing and branding expert, aka my soulmate, is this guy. Oh, of course, my family was also here. Mom. Wow, Rosie had just spoken her first word. Let's take a picture to capture this memorable moment. 3, 2, 1. Oh no, sweetie.
Hi, I'm Celine, and I've called the St. Augustine Orphanage home since I was 6, but I'm not actually an orphan. You see, my parents are special agents with secret identities. Sweetie, if one day someone suspicious asks you about your parents, run for your life. I was used to these fleeting, ghost-like visits from my parents. They often took turns sneaking in and out at night, spending the little time they had with me, and always came together for my birthday. And even though I didn't see them much, they taught me some awesome skills. By the age of 12, I was fluent in 5 languages, could play a variety of instruments, and do a butterfly kick on anyone who needed it. Despite living a secret life and not seeing my parents as much as I wanted, I still felt lucky that I had them both in my life. It's my 17th birthday, a day I should be super excited about. You see, my parents always visit me together on my birthday, but I've been waiting here for ages and there's no sign of them. This was the first year this had happened. I didn't like it one bit. Something was definitely up. The next day in church, we were singing hymns when I spotted this strange man in the crowd staring at me. My instincts were telling me something was up, so I eavesdropped on him talking to a nun.
That girl with blonde hair. How exactly did her parents pass away?
He asked about my parents. That meant my life was in real danger. I fled with all my survival skills right away. What really happened to my parents? Have their identities been revealed? I didn't dare to think about it. So I made sure no one was following me before going to the subway and looking for a baggage locker. This was where I needed to come in a run-for-my-life situation. I waited until nobody was around before I opened it with my key. Inside was some money, a dossier documenting a girl's life from childhood to old age, and a letter.
Our darling Celine, we're very sorry that you didn't have the normal childhood you deserved. Please don't ever doubt that we cherish and love you with all of our hearts. If you're reading this, it means our identities have been compromised. We've included the documents for your new identity. Stay strong. We will reunite soon. You're a loving mom and dad. XO.
If my parents could arrange all this for me, I believe that they could handle anything and come back to me soon. So here I am, under my new identity, Diane. Australia, here I come. My parents left me just enough money to start a new life here, pay for rent and tuition fees. How perfectly ordinary. Diane's parents were researchers away in the Arctic. She's from a basic family and attended normal public schools, then worked as an office accountant, did not marry or have children. Everything was boringly safe. The thing is, if I was going to be someone else, then I should at least be someone fun. So I didn't start school. Instead, I created and adopted the identity of 20-year-old Harper and started my first money-making idea, marriage on demand. With all I'd learned from my parents, I could make a whole lot of money and at the same time experience how a normal family would look like. Perfect! First, I became a Harvard doctor graduate, so this privileged guy's parents would give him his inheritance. Next, a posh aristocrat who saved my client from a dreadful arranged marriage. And then a sweet-natured girl who helped my client intimidate their seriously mean friends. As soon as my clients achieved their goals, the contract ended and we went our separate ways. Before I knew it, through my Harper alias, I'd married 9 guys in just 8 months and become eye-wateringly rich. But as it turned out, the cases I took were all abnormal families. This 10th contract would be my final case. Then I'd say goodbye to Harper and attend college as Diane before I lost all faith in ever getting the family of my dreams. But while driving to my rendezvous, I swear that car was following me. It could be my parents or someone dangerous. Only one way to find out. Now I just had to wait. If they were dangerous, I'd drive straight off this cliff, then swim to safety. Then I saw this gormless, grinning guy peer through my window. He held up a temporary girlfriend contract. Hey, I just want to talk. Could he be my 10th client? Either way, he seemed harmless, so I stepped out of the car. I'm Carlton from the courthouse. You've sure been busy, so I've been assigned to investigate you. As far as I'm aware, it's not illegal to marry multiple times, is it? No, only if they're real and not marriage contracts. Carlton, I only have one client left and I'm not marrying him. I'm his temporary girlfriend, which I believe is legal. So, is there any chance you could turn a blind eye this one last time? Legal or not, I strongly advise you to quit this job and do something more morally upright. Just then, a black car pulled over and a man walked straight towards us. Oh no, had they found me? I'm sorry for getting you into trouble. I turned around, ready to jump, but Carlton suddenly held my hand back. No need for that. My boss won't eat you alive. Besides, I haven't told anyone about the contracts yet. Oh, so this man's his boss from the court? Turns out he and his wife happened to see Carlton on their way to the airport and just came to say hi. Hey, Carl, it doesn't say much if this girl would rather jump into the sea than date you. He looked really awkward and I felt bad for the guy. Without thinking it through, I clung onto his arm and gave him my best adoring look. Actually, we're deeply in love. I'm an adrenaline junkie, but you know Carl, he's just so strict about things like this. You're right, Carl is rather stiff. If you loosened up a bit, you may have been promoted by now. After they left, I explained to Carlton that's what my job is, helping nice guys out of unnecessary trouble. Nothing immoral about it. I was about to leave when he suddenly stopped me. I could see his attitude changed. Please, make a contract with me. I know you could help me improve my communication skills and get me promoted. You can see how desperate I am right now. I wasn't sure. I mean, number 10 was meant to be my last client, but just look at that clueless face. Fine, but in return, you must be an attentive boyfriend, and I want to have dinner with you and your family every evening. Carl looked a bit confused, but he agreed to my demands. This was probably my last chance to experience a family life. I have a strict don't be wife 2 people at the same time rule, so I'm meeting my other client to gently turn him down. Celine, is that you? Celine? He knew my name? OMG, that's Matten, the genius pianist from the orphanage. Oh no, this was terrible. He could blow my cover. I was adopted and go by Harper now. My adoptive parents turned out to be a letdown. I had to fake my identity so I could work on my own. I understand. It's so hard for orphans like us to survive. Yes, it sure is. Look, Matten, things got pretty difficult for me, so I had to take another job in a hurry. I can't do 2 jobs at once. I'm sorry I have to cancel our contract. Yeah, about that. I already publicly announced I have a girlfriend just a second ago. Pianist prodigy Matten confirmed he's currently dating someone? Matten, I really can't do this. Just tell me who your client is. I can make a deal with him. I can't be with them both, so I called an emergency meeting for them to plead their cases. An article accused me of inappropriate behavior towards female artists. It's completely false, of course. I need a girlfriend to distract the public and make them see I'm not a jerk. I want this promotion. If you won't help me, I'll expose you publicly. Pfft, like that matters. I'll just take you back to the US. No, I can't go back there, and I don't want any attention from people either. This is what I'm gonna do, Carl. I'll be your girlfriend on weekdays and do anything I can to help you get promoted. In Matin, I'll be your girlfriend, well, pretend to be your girlfriend on the weekend. But my face has to stay out of the media, okay? Once this is done, then it's goodbye Harper and hello trouble-free, simple Diane. All I have to do is play some music while Matin listens and lets the paparazzi snap photos. I've always admired the way you play music. It follows no rules, but that's what makes it so fearless and fun. His comment made me pine for my parents. They were the reason I played like that. They taught me in the dark, told me to flow with the rhythms without any rules. I miss them so much. I must admit I'd always had a crush on you. When this is over, I want to protect you. I want to be your family. This was sweet, but he didn't know that I already had a family. I just needed to be patient, then eventually they'll be back. On weekdays, I joined Carlton for lunch at work and helped him talk to his coworkers and grumpy boss. Then in the evening, I went to his house and gave him tips on how to be more charismatic, make people trust and warm up to him. I also taught him how to walk without slouching and politely greet people. Hi, Mr. Chair. You look great today. Oh, Miss Lamp, are you okay? You shouldn't lose more weight. You're already gorgeous. Isn't that too much? I've never talked like this before. You're doing great. Carlton followed all my advice. He might be a bit clumsy, but in a cute, endearing way. Still, what I anticipated most was joining his family for dinner. I'd never experienced the cozy and warm atmosphere of a family dinner before. Who knew Carl was such a great cook? And so sweet. After only 1 week, Carl now had friends at work and his boss gave him extra responsibilities. Meanwhile, Matin's reputation also made a rebound thanks to articles like, he doesn't want to be around other girls because he's so passionately in love with this amazing muse. A frantic week quickly passed, which ended with Carlton's family celebrating his new position, all thanks to me. I was so moved I almost cried, but noticed Carlton seemed off. Maybe he was bummed out as he knew this was the end of our contract. After dinner, we went for a stroll around the garden. Then he blurted out, "Who are you really?" I was super surprised. Then he told me that one of his new jobs was to investigate a girl called Diane who entered the country, then vanished. I know you're Diane. I can recognize those eyes anywhere. Yes, I'm Diane, but I only faked my identity to earn money. I know you're lying again. It's fine, you've helped me, so I'll help you too. I faked some info to close the case. Thank you, Carl. This means a lot. I knew how important the laws were to him, but he still broke them. For me. I actually quit my job. What do you mean? What about your promotion? You've tried so hard for that. It's okay. I realized I didn't like it so much anyway. I felt terrible that he'd given up his job because of me. But he didn't need me anymore. Our contract had to end, right? Now it's time to end Matin's contract. Then I can go back to being Diane. However, I showed up at the villa to a swarm of reporters. Are you Matin's girlfriend? Please get out of the car. Are you the girl who dates him for dollars, not love? Please show yourself and verify the news. Looks like the news of Matin's girlfriend being a girl who only married for money had leaked. I sat there not knowing what to do. Then I saw Matin coming out of the villa hand in hand with some shiny-haired girl. These rumors about my girlfriend are all lies. Amber is a wonderful, kind-hearted soul and I couldn't be happier. Oh, I suppose that's pretty smart of him. Finding someone with a nice background was the only way to save his reputation for now. Goodbye, Matin. I wish you well. It seems he couldn't bring himself to ruin his career to protect me the way Carlton did. Now I was free to be Diane and attend this public school my parents wanted me to. I was wondering when you'd show up. You're rather popular. A man with a scar has been asking about you. Someone with a scar was looking for Diane? The moment I realized someone was watching me behind the door, my instinct told me to run for my life. I rushed to the window and jumped down, just to catch Carlton peeping at me. What are you doing here? I wanted to see you, so I tracked down Diane. I didn't expect to find you here, but I like you a lot, and there was no time. They saw us together, so I pulled him away. You're driving like crazy, Diane. Who are they? Why are they chasing us? I don't know. All I know is that they're dangerous. He took his phone out to call 911, but I stopped him. No cops. I can't trust anyone but myself, Carl. I'm so sorry for dragging you into this mess. My parents often told me the best way to escape a chase is to jump into the water. However crazy it seems, please trust me. I took a sudden turn and plunged the car straight into the sea. In the water, I unfastened the seatbelt and turned to see Carl already got out of his. He pulled my hand and we swam through the window. The waves drifted us onto a beach, but I had no strength left to move an inch. They're gonna catch us. Celine, sweetie, please wake up. I rubbed my eyes and saw the golden sand, Carlton, and My mom and dad? Am I dead? Mom? No, sweetie, you're very much alive. Turns out the people chasing us were my parents. After 10 years on the job, they finally eliminated the criminal gang and retired. Dad ended up getting the scar, but it's all over now. We could finally be a normal family. You sure made it hard for us to track you down by using a different identity. We should have known our cunning daughter would have created a more challenging life. Like father, like daughter. Huh? You're not Diane? Carlton, my name's Celine. Mom, Dad, this is Carlton, my boyfriend. It was so cute seeing him blush. Then he quickly held his hand out and introduced himself to them.
It's lovely to meet you both. I care greatly for your daughter, and I always will, no matter how mischievous she is.
Turns out it's pretty amazing just being Celine. I started school as myself, and so far, so good. I'm living with my kind, talented, and normal parents. We're having the best time together, and I get to date this cute, caring chef. The best part is I can finally stop running for my life and just enjoy the people I love most.
Hi, I'm Aubrey, a super smart girl with an IQ of 200, and you should be ready for my mind-blowing story. Before I continue, please like and subscribe. I grew up in a small village in the countryside where people farm for a living. My family struggled to put food on the table, so I could only attend a monastery school. But since childhood, I've always been kind of different.
The system is crashing. Please wait for a moment.
The chicken is $15.55 minus 15%. Cereal is $2.49. Potatoes, laundry detergent. So the total comes to $64.85 with the discounts and tax included.
Mom soon realized I was a gifted child, so she helped me skip some grades, and by the age of 5, I was already doing secondary school math. I always topped my classes, and other students would bribe me with candies to ask for help with their homework. At the age of 8, I scored 760 on the SAT math and won the spelling bee competition. I became a phenomenon in the area, and reporters even gave me the Stanford Binet IQ test, which showed I had the same intelligence as a 22-year and 11-month-old person. My parents were super proud of me, especially my dad.
Dad, they all gave me Lego and comics for rewards, as if I was an 8-year-old.
Yeah, they're wrong. You're 8 years and 5 months old already, little lady.
He was the only one who could spark interesting conversations with me. That is, until he fell terribly ill. But good surgeons were nowhere to be found in this remote countryside, and we couldn't afford to take him to the center either. We were desperate to see his situation get worse and worse. Then he passed away, leaving us in the depths of despair. Soon after, Mom couldn't afford my school fees anymore, so I had to drop out.
Aubrey, I'm so sorry.
Don't worry, Mom. There's nothing that school can teach that I can't learn by myself. So she signed me up for a library membership, and turned out the best memories I cherished were here, where I could immerse myself in interesting knowledge from all around the world. I was walking down the aisle, absent-mindedly running my fingers along the spines of the books, when one caught my eye. And the memories of my dad rushed back to me. If he had been operated on, he'd not have lost. I started turning the first few pages and was captivated immediately. Then suddenly, a fiery desire sparked in my heart. I want to become a surgeon. So I studied every medical book I could find, especially the ones from this author, and decided to save money to enter medical school as soon as possible. To get closer to my dream, I moved out to the city and applied for a job at a coffee shop right next to the medical school. Only...
You've broken 10 plates this week already. Are you trying to break a record?
Come on, boss. It's just some plates. Not like I burned the whole shop or something.
This will be deducted from your salary. Repeat this and you'll be fired.
Okay, that's my fault, but I knew he wouldn't fire me. There's no one else who could memorize so many orders all at once, even Diner Dash Master. Later, I was going to serve a group of students when I heard they were discussing an emergency case.
We have to remove that blood clot in segment 4 of the liver and flush the left lobe. Definitely have to start at the middle hepatic vein.
Is this dude serious? Absolutely not. A less intrusive cut would be along the falciform ligament to allow access to segment 3. Everyone fell silent and looked at me like I was an alien. Suddenly, the middle-aged man among them stood up.
Nice work, young lady. Your method is much more efficient than my student's answer. Which class are you in?
Oh, I'm not a medical student, but I aspire to be one day. The man asked me to sit down and continued asking me other medical questions, and I answered them all with ease. My adrenaline was rushing. Since my dad passed away, I hadn't had such an interesting discussion. Then, a few days later, the man came back and revealed that he was Dr. Sean Lewis and the principal of the medical school. OMG, you're my favorite author! I admire you so much!
Thank you, young lady. Anyway, I came here today with an offer. I was impressed by the knowledge you have in the medical field, and I think you deserve a full expense scholarship to the most prestigious medical school.
Can someone pinch me now? This was truly a blessing from heaven that I would definitely not let slip away.
Here comes my first day. I went to school extra early to explore as much of the campus as possible. This place was so much bigger and better equipped than my old school. I was looking around the hallway to find my class when someone bumped into me. Oh, isn't it the gave the wrong answer guy at the cafe? He just coldly said sorry and hastily headed to the class over there. 412? It's my class too. I learned that he was Henry, the top student of the class. But obviously he wasn't that good. They'll see. All the theoretical classes didn't make me break a sweat, and I even spotted some mistakes made by the professors. When lunch rolled around, I went to the cafeteria, approaching the first group that caught my eye, and they seemed to be friendly. Want some of my fries? Potato fries contain a high amount of trans fat, which is associated with type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and obesity. One day you'll have a stroke, and then you'll know why. Thank me later. They all pouted and left right away. Did I say something wrong? Right then, a nice girl came to me. I'm Laura. Mind if I sit? Sure. Then she told me she was isolated too, just because she wasn't as smart as the other students here. Why are they so mean? Hey, why you gotta be bothered by those toxic people? Do they give you a penny for your thoughts? It's not about how many friends you make. It's about finding one that knows your worth. You're right. I'm Aubrey, by the way. I know, I was in the same class with you this morning. And the way you argue with our professor? Wow, that's impressive. Laura and I quickly became friends. It's great to have her around who could truly see my brilliance and always encouraged me to express myself. Today came a big event. A conference was held by none other than Dr. Lewis. But little did I know that this event would become a battleground between Henry and I. Determined to impress Dr. Lewis, I eagerly raised my hand at every opportunity to answer his inquiries. Each time I did, Henry would swiftly raise his hand as well, competing for Dr. Lewis's attention. We argued back and forth, neither backing down until the end of the conference. After that, Dr. Lewis announced that there was one slot available in his upcoming research project, which would go to the top student of this term. The room buzzed with excitement and anticipation. My heart skipped a beat, for working with Dr. Lewis had been a lifelong dream. However, other students started cheering Henry's name. Jeez, I swore I would beat his butt off and show them who deserved it. Time to prove that I was not only unmatched in theory, but also in practice. I was the very first one to finish stitching up the incision. But as I reached for my gauze, I couldn't find it anywhere. It must be around here, I swear. Oh no, I left it inside the dummy. Okay, this time must be better. How hard could it be to use this defibrillator? But then I accidentally touched the metal pad and got shocked and fell backward. I kept trying in many other practice sessions, but that sucked. Aubrey, this cast looks exactly like a chicken thigh. Do it again. But the most annoying thing was that Henry excelled in all of them and other students started mocking me. After that, I went outside for some fresh air and deep down, I was so disappointed in myself for all my failures. Suddenly, a hand gently patted my shoulder. It was Laura. I couldn't help but hug her and start sobbing. Laura, what if I was wrong about myself? I failed at everything and people started humiliating me. Oh, they just envy you. Nobody can beat your academic scores. That's why they gloated at your failure in practice. But that big brain of yours is what matters the most, right? Yeah? And an opportunity is coming your way. There's an intelligence contest next week. If you win, everyone will have to recognize that you're the best, including Henry. Talk about Laura, my savior. I'll try my best. Just wait and see. A few days later, Laura took me to the library in a private study room. She helped me set up my laptop and left me alone so I could focus. Good luck! I participated in an online oral contest over Skype. There was a panel of judges who asked questions, and all I had to do was answer them verbally. Easy peasy. Now I just need to wait for the results. The next day, I went to school as usual, then suddenly was called to the principal's office. Dr. Lewis might have known about that competition and saw my name on the top list. I was about to brag about my performance when he accused me of helping other students cheat on their exam. Then he showed me a voice recording of me answering the questions. Wasn't that for the intelligence contest? But Laura said, Dr. Lewis, just wait. I can explain. I frantically called Laura, but she refused to pick up. Enough. I'm so disappointed in you. You're expelled from this moment. Feeling lost and crushed, I trudged myself to a bench in the schoolyard. Hey, are you okay? Okay? You're mocking me? Now that project slot is yours. Happy much? Get out of my sight, now! Suddenly, a stack of papers fell onto my lap. You might need this. Good luck. I believe you're not a cheater. I confusedly flipped through those papers to see that these were all of Henry's notes from this semester for practice lessons, which could not be found in normal textbooks or lectures. I kept on turning to the last page and saw a scribble. Know your worth. Something awakened inside me, so I swallowed my pride and ran after Henry. Hey, wait! I've been wrong about you the whole time. I'm sorry. Don't be. It's my fault to act competitively too. I had no bad intentions. It was just the motivation for me to study harder. I swear. But it's a pity if the medical industry loses someone like you.
Well, I'm not so sure anymore. I'm used to doing everything so quickly and I can't be patient, which probably explains my clumsiness.
That I can help with. Genius is 1% talent and 99% hard work, you know.
Since then, I often went to Henry's house to practice. We studied together and he taught me many tips to stay calm, patient, and focused. And turns out, he's also quite the adorable type. Here you go.
Thank you, doctor. This is the best stitch I've ever had.
One day, I ran into Laura at a gas station. She tried to hide, but I ran straight there to catch her. How could you trick me like that and just disappear like nothing happened?
I'm so sorry, Aubrey. I was so blind and just wanted to help those who are bad at studying like me. I never expected it to be that serious and you'd get expelled.
And now, why are you here?
It's just the medical profession was not my thing, so I quit. But Aubrey, please forgive me. I'm really ashamed of what I did, and you were the only one who had truly been kind to me.
Only when you set things straight and confess everything to Dr. Lewis. But even so, there isn't a likely chance we'll be friends again. So the next day, Henry took Laura and I to see Dr. Lewis.
Aubrey, Laura, what are you both doing here? Dr. Lewis, I was the one behind the cheating case. Aubrey had no idea and didn't deserve to be punished for my fault.
I've been practicing a lot too, sir. Look at these. I've been so careful with every single one.
Aubrey has also helped me a lot on our project. I hope you can forgive her and grant her another chance.
Dr. Lewis looked quite satisfied, but then he suddenly turned pensive and shook his head.
Medical school is not where people can freely join and leave. A doctor needs an extra sharp mind and can't be fooled as easily as you were. I'm sorry, Aubrey, but you're not qualified.
My heart sank to my toes, and I locked myself inside my apartment for the next couple of days. It wasn't until Henry knocked at my door that I actually went outside. He said he wanted to cheer me up and bring me to his favorite restaurant. I sat down waiting while Henry went to get the drinks. Hey! But a second later, he slipped on the stairs and fell down with a thud with all the broken glass scattering around.
It's all right. I think I only twisted my ankle. Not a big deal.
But my stomach dropped when I noticed a trail of blood on the floor and something protruding from his ankle. A large shard of glass. I swiftly dialed 911 while Henry winced in pain.
Aubrey, you have to administer first aid.
Oh, right. I called for the restaurant staff to get the first aid kit, but it was clear that the situation was dire. Henry's face grew pale as blood continued to trickle from the wound. I held the wound closed to stop the blood, but my heart felt weak. I couldn't bear to see him suffer. You trust me, Henry?
What do you mean? Yes?
So I immediately pulled out the toolkit that I brought around in my purse. Henry bit down on the tablecloth beside us, and I started the procedure. I maintained a steady stream of chatter, trying to distract him from the pain, but it wasn't helping.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
What?
Just to distract myself from the pain.
Okay, go ahead.
Stand a little taller.
And done. When I looked up, there was a crowd cheering in awe and admiration.
Guys, I caught the whole thing live.
The video of the incident quickly went viral. That night, I tossed and turned in bed, unable to contain my excitement. I saved a human life! Reading the comments of the video filled me with a renewed sense of motivation to pursue my dream. The following morning, I was jolted awake by a notification on my phone. It was an email from Dr. Lewis himself. I headed to Dr. Lewis's office, and to my surprise, he told me he saw the video and gently said,
Aubrey, I was once like you, arrogant and overly reliant on my natural intelligence. Then, a mistaken surgery left me with regret that I will carry with me for the rest of my life. However, after watching the video, I'm glad that you changed. I saw your humility and eagerness to learn, so I'll give you another chance.
So here I am. You have no idea how much I miss this hallway. Welcome back. How's your ankle doing? Much better, thanks to you. How about a celebration dinner tonight? Sounds great, but promise you won't need me to operate on you again. I was scared to death. Ahead of me still lay a long road, but I believe the day I become a skilled surgeon is closer than ever. And soon I can perform more life-saving surgeries for the less fortunate. Dad, I will make you proud. Little Jasmine was playing football with her friends when they stopped because someone had to go pee.
Yeah, I gotta go too.
They all went to the woods, and Jasmine's jaw dropped upon seeing them.
What in the world? Why are they all peeing standing up like that?
Jasmine is the youngest child and only girl in an all-boy family. Her mother passed away when she was born, so she grew up with her father and 3 brothers. Her dad is a successful businessman who can ensure a happy life for his 3 sons, but struggles with Jasmine because he's only used to raising boys. Although he tried his best to raise a daughter, Jasmine became more like a 4th son. She has short hair, dresses like them, and plays her brother's games. She even tends to skip showers for days at a time. Her bedroom is messy and decorated with boy stuff. Her brothers even gave her a boy's name. One day while playing, her eldest brother, Gary, called over his younger siblings. Roll call! Like soldiers, the 3 younger siblings lined up from tallest to shortest, proclaiming their names loud and proud. Gary, Aaron, Nick.
Jasmine?
Her brothers looked at her, frowning disapprovingly. Then Gary had an idea. Nah, that doesn't sound right. How would you like a new name?
A new name?
Not a real new name, just a nickname. Something cool we can call you. How about that?
Sure.
How about we call her Gucci? Gucci, like the luxury brand?
Yeah, it sounds cool.
So, how about that, Jasmine? You like Gucci? Jasmine nodded, and from that day forward, everyone called her Gucci. She learned to like it more than her real name, and as she grew up, she just assumed she was a boy. That is, until the incident happened today. Feeling absolutely bamboozled, Jasmine dashed home to tell her dad what she saw.
Dad, am I a different type of boy?
No, you're a girl, Jasmine.
A girl? Does it matter?
Not really.
Okay, cool. That's all I need to know.
After that, Jasmine still dressed up and played boys' games until a shocking event happened when she turned 12. One day at school, Jasmine suddenly felt very tired and her stomach hurt.
Can I use the restroom, please?
Yes, is everything okay?
Yeah,
But the moment she stood up, the boy sitting next to her started yelling to the rest of their classmates.
Gucci, there's something on your pants!
Jasmine looked down and her face started burning bright red. She was frozen as laughter erupted from the rest of the classroom. Unable to take another second of it, she sprinted from the room and didn't look back, despite her teacher shouting her name down the hall. Jasmine couldn't understand what was happening to her and frantically searched the school for her brothers. When she did find them, they were just as puzzled as she was, trying to figure out what to do. They didn't realize they had ended up in front of the nurse's office. Once safe inside the office, Jasmine asked,
"Give it to me straight, ma'am. Am I dying?"
No.
Oh, my dog! I'm totally dying, aren't I?
I got a big game coming up. I haven't even tried. You're not dying. It's called period, honey.
Then how do I stop it from happening?
You can't. It's gonna keep happening because you're becoming a woman.
A woman? What the?
But problems still followed Jasmine even after she entered high school. And one of those problems was mean girls.
We all know you're gay, Gucci. Tell us who you have a crush on. Well, I've liked you for a long time, Tiffany. Want to go on a date? In your dreams.
Jasmine was pleased with herself as the group of girls stormed off. One day, Jasmine was walking down the stairs when she slipped, but someone caught her. She looked up at her savior to find Mike, the new student/angel who just joined her high school. This was the first time Jasmine had felt her heart beat so fast. Not counting the time she accidentally peed on her father's Persian rug when she was 4 years old.
Hey, shut your front door!
At that moment, Jaden quickly took the opportunity, pretended to fall on the two of them, and uttered a line that still makes him admire his own disguise skills to this day. Ouch! Ouch! My ankle! Who the fudge spilled water all over the stairs? Jasmine turned to look at the person who had just spoken. Then a hand reached out. You okay, bro? Jasmine blushed and looked up. She saw Mike offering her his hand and shyly reached for it. But suddenly, it hit her.
He called me bro!
From then on, Jasmine continuously ran into Mike in class, in the library, and found herself falling for him. But every time Jasmine greeted him, "Hey, what's up, bro?" But Jasmine didn't want him to be her bro. She wanted him to be her beau. She decided it was time to do something. Jasmine secretly put food and lollipops in Mike's locker and was caught by Tiffany.
You know that's a boy's locker, don't you? Sorry if you're disappointed it's not yours. Why don't you just quit while you're ahead, Gucci? Mike is into real girls.
I bet he doesn't even know you're supposed to be one.
As Tiffany laughed, Jasmine turned bright red with anger. Storming away, she was determined to become the kind of girly girl Mike could fall for. Jasmine thought she would have to change from the inside out, so this would be her first destination.
However, out of much embarrassment, she resorted to wearing a hoodie to fully cover herself.
Jasmine suddenly noticed a saleswoman following her around the store.
I'm gonna need security to get over here now. This dude is sus.
No, I'm just browsing. I'm trying to find a birthday gift for my, sister.
Ah, right on. We have some lacy ones, bright colors like neon green, and hot yellow that dudes really like.
Jasmine felt dizzy. Just imagining wearing any of these made her feel embarrassed. Quickly, she thanked the saleswoman for her help and told her she'd come back, then hurried out of the store. How is being a girl so difficult? I wish I had some girlfriends to help with this. I have no clue what I'm doing.
As soon as Jasmine got outside, she noticed Jaden checking himself out in front of a glass door. Excellent! My cover as Jaden is perfect. No one's gonna know who I really am.
Jeez, this guy again. He seemed so self-obsessed. So much more girly than I could ever be.
Jasmine then immediately came up with this brilliant idea, but Jaden had already left. The next day, Jasmine saw Jaden again, who was enthusiastically chatting with the gossip girls. Do these girls know how to get to the point? This gossip is exhausting. I just need them to say something relevant about Mike so I can get on with this investigation. When the mean girls left, Jasmine finally worked up the nerve to approach him with her proposition.
Can you help me be more like those other girls?
Like what? Chatty?
More, I don't know, feminine?
No thanks.
Oh, come on. I know you have it inside.
I don't have time for this nonsense. I have a job to do. Jaden started walking away, but Jasmine wasn't going to take no for an answer.
Please, I want to get Mike to like me, and he only likes girly girls.
Jaden realized this could be a good opportunity for him to get to Mike, instead of directly approaching him, which could easily raise suspicion, so he agreed. Together, Jaden and Jasmine found out that he seemed to be into designer stuff. He also adored Kendall Jenner very much. Looks like Mike has expensive tastes.
Money's not a problem.
Then she dragged Jaden to the mall. They bought all kinds of designer dresses, high heels, and bags, which made Jaden's jaw totally drop. Jeez, I didn't expect you to be rich.
My dad is a collector of sorts. He likes antiques and things. You know, like those fancy old Persian carpets, original artwork, porcelain vases and things. He has a good job, so I guess he can afford such an expensive hobby.
Then Jaden also taught Jasmine how to walk and behave like a girl. Jasmine struggled a lot. She was just so used to acting like a boy that acting like a girl was more foreign to her than her dad's Nordic glassware.
How come you're better at being a girl than I am?
Because I spent endless days and nights doing research on this character so I could easily master all this girly stuff. Oh, I guess it's all in my genes. And that made Jasmine fall over laughing. The following day, Jasmine came to school with her brand new look and was immediately thrust into the spotlight. However, the only ones who didn't seem to notice were Mike and Tiffany.
This plan seems like a bust.
You can't lose the race before you've even reached the starting line.
He seems to have even more faith in me than I have in myself. Gotta trust the process, I guess.
And indeed, the following days, Jaden tried his best to help Jasmine approach Mike. At lunch, when Mike passed their table, Jaden designedly dropped Jasmine's apple, which he caught just before it hit the ground. Can I sit here? After a few days, Mike fell for it hook, line, and sinker. He tracked Jasmine down at the end of the day to ask her out.
So, things didn't work out between you and Tiffany?
Psh, no. I found out all her designer clothes were knockoffs. Can you believe that? I just hate liars. Don't you?
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, is that yes to a date?
Absolutely.
Who fell for it hook, line, and sinker then? Soon enough, Jasmine and Mike were officially dating, and Jaden didn't miss this chance to follow them 24/7.
Jaden always seemed to appear out of nowhere to interrupt their conversations. So, tell us a little more about yourself, Mike. Where do you live? What does your dad do for work? Well, I lost my mom when I was too young to remember her, and I've basically lived with my nanny ever since. Dad comes around sometimes, but he spends a lot of time on business trips.
That must be rough. I mean, I also lost...
Why so busy? What exactly does he do?
Mike's face seemed darkened, and Jasmine couldn't help but be a bit annoyed with Jaden's constant presence.
She wasn't sure who was dating Mike anymore, but there were benefits to having Jaden around all the time. He seemed to be Jasmine's savior when it came to ordering food, as Mike had a terrifyingly strict diet and skincare routine. Is there anything quality on this menu? I can't eat any of these greasy, fried, fatty foods. No soda either. Only smoothies or sugar-free milk. I also go to the gym 4 times a week and spend the rest at a spa. You should come with me sometime.
Sure. That sounds cool.
In order to keep her girly image, Jasmine tried to delicately take a few bites of the salad and ignored her grumbling stomach. Luckily, Mike had to leave early, so once he was out of sight, Jaden slid his full plate of food over to Jasmine. Here, you could act in your natural habitat now.
Thank you so much.
As Jasmine began eagerly scarfing down his food, Jaden reached for Mike's unfinished drink and took a sip.
What the heck is this poison? I should have you know that was the only thing Mike found acceptable on the menu. A sugar-free kale smoothie.
Ick. No wonder he couldn't even finish it. Then they had a great evening talking and dining on deliciously greasy, fried, fatty foods. As they were walking back home, Jasmine twisted her ankle, still not used to wearing high heels. Without thinking, Jaden quickly piggybacked Jasmine and continued walking. Comfortable quietness fell over them. Becoming self-conscious, Jasmine broke the silence.
Am I, too heavy for you?
Actually, yeah, next time, cut down on the chicken before twisting an ankle.
How dare you?
I'm kidding. You're fine. You're not heavy at all. I mean, maybe a little.
Oh, shut up, you jerk. The two shared their cheerful laughter under the streetlights.
Meanwhile, after seeing Jasmine and Mike together, Tiffany threw a tantrum and thought to herself she wouldn't let them off that easily. One day, when Jasmine and Mike were discussing where to go out next time, Jaden immediately seized the chance. Let's go to Mike's house. Come on. Alrighty then, my house it is. Let's go. When they arrived, Jaden couldn't stop admiring the house and looked everywhere, but only God knew he was just looking for clues. Staying fully in character, Jaden touched a little bit of everything, clinging on to Mike and gushing over everything. This house is beautiful and huge. It must be awesome living basically by yourself with all this. Is your dad around by any chance? We'd love to meet him. Meanwhile, Jasmine was becoming a little uncomfortable with how obsessed with Mike Jaden seemed to be.
Is he gay? I mean, that's fine, but he could just say that.
Later, when the two of them were alone, Jasmine figured it was time to confront Jaden.
Hey, I was wondering, do you, have a crush on my boyfriend?
Jaden was dumbfounded for a second, and before he could think more about it, he slyly smiled and pressed Jasmine against the wall. What makes you think so? I'm into girls. Jasmine couldn't think straight with Jaden's face so close to hers. Want me to prove it to you? Flustered, she hurriedly pulled away, heart fluttering, blushing profusely.
I would like you to stop being a third wheel then. Thank you for helping me approach Mike and all, but now that we're dating, I would appreciate it if you could give us some space. Please.
Jaden was taken aback for a second, then calmly said, You're right. Sorry. I'll back off. Being the third wheel all this time hasn't gotten me any info on Mike's dad anyway. He really was laying low, and maybe Mike didn't even know anything about what his father was doing. The FBI might need to find another way to approach this investigation. Little did Jaden know, Jasmine had become an unexpected factor in his investigation plan.